older Black lady came back and, as with the other patients, the problems had disappeared when she stayed off the dairy. And I said to her, I said, well, you're lactose intolerant. That's why you're having these symptoms. And she looked at me and said, oh, I know that. And I was just really taken aback because I asked her, well, if you know that you can't tolerate dairy foods, why are you still uh, including them in your diet? And she said, because the government says I have to. The dietary guidelines say that all Americans should, include X amount of dairy foods every day. And it was at that point that I really became, quite frankly, angry because I knew that the federal government was well aware of the fact that the majority of people of color are intolerant of dairy foods, of lactose containing foods. Furthermore, they also know that for some reason, African American women appear to be genetically protected against developing osteoporosis in the absence of some other concomitant disease. And so the reason that dairy foods are promoted to the American public, that is supposedly for protecting bone health, which, and we can come back to this, they actually don't protect your bones, but that reason wasn't even valid for this woman, yet the government is encouraging her to eat foods it knows will make her sick. And that was clearly a form of institutional racism. And so I went to PCRM, talked with the director, and Neil felt as strongly about it as I did. And out of that experience, we wrote and published a two-part study called Racial Bias in the US Dietary Guidelines, Parts 1 and Part 2. Part 1 dealt directly with the issue of lactose intolerance and Americans of color. And then Part 2 looked at the larger issue of the fact that a animal food-centered diet promotes and creates excess disease in communities of color and correspondingly premature death.